Hi everybody. Well, that was a bit awkward, wasn't it? You just all seen my back. Hello everybody. Welcome.
I don't know what happened there. Oh my God.
1 minute you were seeing me, my backside as I was trying to bend down against some, and I'm like, oh. Hi everybody.
Oh my God. Well, we're here. We made it. Something really happened to the system there. Did you notice that? It just kind of froze. And
I was going to say, look, Facebook has got facial recognition on me. They've seen it's me and they've went, no, he's bad. Get him off there.
I think, actually, John, I don't think we're actually far removed. I think it's actually your presence just showing up like that. Oh my God, it's like face recognition on your Facebook.
Get him out of there.
Good evening, everybody. We're all traumatized. Just give us half an hour and we'll get there in the end, so we will. Right.
Half an hour, what are you talking about?
I don't even know what we're talking about. Yeah, because Paul, we kind of seized up, right? Nobody was there and it wouldn't let me go on. It just was like, computer said no. And we're blaming John.
I know the feeling of computer says no today, trust me.
I know. Good evening, everybody. Listen, it's fabulous. Thanks for hanging in with us there. We've got Deborah White, we've got Katrina Marshall, Anne Maxwell, Dawn Rose, Caroline Wallace. That's good to know. If Caroline's in the house, it's going to be a good night. We've got Norma's in the house. We've got Megan Ritchie. Hello, Megan. Good to see you on here. It's fabulous. Thanks so much for joining. And we've got John Spratt is also here.
I'm actually in the comments. How cool is that?
Exactly.
Lara, I sent you a star, sweetheart. I sent you 50 stars.
Did you? Oh, thanks for the stars, John.
I'll give you my bank details at the end of the show. You can repay me.
This is pull up a chair and get ready for a good chit chat. There we go. Are you ready, John?
Yes, I'm ready.
Good. We've got the wonderful Paul Cissell in the house tonight, and we've got Beth Darlington as well. Listen, we were on about 3 weeks ago, weren't we? And
yes, it would be.
So many messages afterwards saying, "Oh my God, when are you going to do the next night?" And like that, everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. So thanks, guys, for showing up tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you again.
Yeah, we're getting quite a collection of armchair psychics, right? So obviously we will be going out and about in the next couple of weeks as well. John and I have been waiting for our ghost phones, haven't we, John?
Ghost phone.
Yes, I'm jealous.
I wouldn't be, Beth. We actually ordered them in about July, so we did all
Yeah, COVID posting.
It'll be like waiting on Facebook to unblock me. We'll still be waiting in July.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh, I know. We'll be waiting since July. John, it could be another 8 months, they were telling you.
Oh, God. What is it with people just now?
I don't know. It's been a few days, guys. Look, we're going to be talking about all stuff. We thought we'd talk tonight about all things to do with divination, the different ways. Oh my God, any excuse. And John's got his cards out. Look at that. Look at that. John's got, oh, I don't tell you, John's got about 140. Oh, God. Oh, how many sets of cards have you got?
Me, I don't use them.
Neither do I.
No, I don't use them.
Silly question. And Beth, you don't use cards either, do you?
No, but when investigating locations and, attempting the whole, possibility of trying to connect with any type of spirit, you have to be quite creative, and there's, different ways, which I'm sure we'll talk about, but some of it's been using music as something to entice an emotion, using objects they call trigger objects. So if the energy was a particular heavy smoker, you're having that around going, hey, I got a cigarette, you want to come out and play, like that kind of stuff, and sort of, enticing from that perspective. So there are different ways in trying to get communication across from an investigative perspective. That's not always the traditional side, like from the Victorian times. So, yeah.
Yeah, now speaking about, because obviously, I've worked with you before, Paul, and it was a silly question to say what kind of cards. I've never seen you use a set of cards in the time that I've known you, but you do a lot of teaching, don't you? Do you ever teach cards with people?
I don't know. I leave that to the professional tarot card readers, the tutors that are out there. They know what they're talking about. It's not something that I use within my own work, so I'm not going to teach it. I'll leave that to somebody that has a greater understanding of the use of the tarot cards than myself.
It's quite funny you say that, Paul, because I was the same. I never ever used tarot cards. To me, when I saw tarot cards, they were nothing but pretty pictures on bits of paper. That's the way I looked at it. And it was only must be about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was just sitting one night with a missus, and I was like, I fancy learning how to do tarot cards. And the two of us actually put ourselves on a tarot card course. And that's, from then, I've pulled out. I don't pull them out all the time. It's only really if I'm live on Facebook, or if somebody comes for a private sit-in, I'll say, I'll pull out some cards, because I'm a bit like you. Cards are more for your psychic people. And I think when you work for spirit, you forget that there's other tools out there, and like cards and all that sort of thing. And I think that's where we need to get you some cards. You need to look at some cards and use them in a different way, maybe. Like, instead of, the 2 of wands meaning a certain thing, maybe look at the picture and allow spirit to draw you into different areas of that image. I don't know. Just trying to get you a pack of cards here.
Yeah.
Oh, well, do you know, I'm loving your enthusiasm about the cards, John, because I know you've got about, 140 sets?
I do, because I like the pictures. And that's all it is. They're not all tarot. Some of them are oracle cards and Leonard cards, all different kinds. But it's the pictures I like. And I've seen me doing readings, and I pull them out. And sometimes I can look at a card, and I'm like, whoa, that card. I could say to the person, your granny or your mum's just come in here, and I tell you, this card's what helped bring them in, because they just drew me to the images that are on it. But they're great. I think they're fascinating now. But before, I've got to admit, I was very much like Paul. Leave them to the people that know best. Now I encourage everybody, get yourself some cards.
Was that out of the jail about time? Hope you had a good day. Get you out. Oh,
I'm not out of jail yet. I'm still locked. Facebook's still not letting me on my page. Don't even mention it. Put it short there.
No, don't mention the word jail. All right. So far, well, the thing is, there's so many different sort of methods of divination. Right? What's the best one? Paul, I think what you're saying is that you don't really use any methods of divination other than channeling with...
I embrace them all, yeah. I feel that they've all got their own individual purpose. And as we all know, some people are more drawn to different types of divination. So some people are more drawn, such as myself, to mediumship, so afterlife communication, providing that evidence, whether that is through spirit communication or being on a paranormal setting. Some people are more comfortable and more drawn to the cards. And there are many other forms of divination out there, such as the runes, as you just put, the pendulum also. So there are just so many, and I don't think there's anyone that's right or wrong, is there really? I think they're all just as good. They're just a tool. They're just a guide, aren't they?
Absolutely. The most impressive thing I've ever... Anybody seen table tipping before?
Yes.
Yeah. Did that impress you like it impressed me?
It's something that I still scratch my head about. I think it's just an incredible experience when and again, it's like the perfect lasagna. It's the right combination of people. It's got to be the right location, the right mindset of everybody there, and the way in which it tips and moves. I mean, I've been chasing around after one with a video camera around a pool table. It was going that fast, and that just, these kinds of experiences change you. You can't look at life and death the same way when you have a table chasing after you. So
I know.
It's incredible, like to have so much energy to move an object in that particular way. And and obviously with everyone standing away, that object doesn't move. There's a connection, there's patterns, and there's energy in a way that I still have yet to comprehend. It's an incredible experience.
Absolutely. It's definitely, I mean, some things, even though we're human and we need that, we look for the explanation, don't we? But in actual fact, the awesomeness of not having an explanation, actually seeing it and going, listen, we can't explain that, but it looks bloody brilliant, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. It's just, and you try and explain it to people, like, really, like anyone else, really, a table? Come on, like, well, how much did you have to drink that night? Those kinds of questions. Like, it's like, seriously, it happened. Oh, you were pushing it. I'm like, you can't. You just fingers on the top. It from a physics perspective, it just can't happen.
Yeah, so we did a really good one for table tipping once. It was in Dundee. I don't know if you have heard of the Discovery ship in Dundee, up in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
You need to check it out. Okay.
I know.
Fabulous ship, the Discovery in Dundee. We did a paranormal investigation there, and we had a group that was doing table tipping, and it was great. It was, as you described, chasing it around the room. People, it was going, and I decided to mix it up and asked them to put their hands this way on the table, so they were resting their hands that way. All the people on the table, and instead of it moving, it lifted. It came off the ground, and we've actually got it on camera. I'll when I can get onto my page, I will post it onto the page. It is on there somewhere, but the table actually comes up off the ground. You've got a clear view of everybody's hands on the table, and you can just see it comes about this off the ground, stays there for about 5 seconds at the most, and then it just slams down. Everybody's like, but yeah, table tipping is amazing when it gets going.
And even when it tips on and sits on the angle as well, that's always been interesting. And we've had people try and push down on the side that's lifted up, and they can't move it. It is like concrete. It's just.
And when it's big tables as well, I don't know. I mean, there's a place in Abbott's house in Dunfermline, I think it is. There's a place over that way, and it's proper stone floors in there, so it's very rugged like this, and they've got those wooden tables but with a cast iron in the center, that comes down. You need about 5 people just to try and lift one table, and we've got a video of that actually moving along the ground as well, and the guy that was on it was huge, and then he almost pooed his pants because he was like, ugh. But yeah, amazing. As you say, the different ways, even, it doesn't necessarily have to be it's moving, just it tipping up and trying to push it back. It's fab.
And it's because some will move, shift. Other times you'll find tables when you're doing a session, it will turn only. So it'll just go around. You kind of go around in a circle, and it's like, okay, we've got a roundy one tonight. So
yeah, I call it the twisty effect. Feel like
exactly. So it's all different ways in which some just vibrate. Sometimes you actually feel it vibrate, and it'll just sort of rock, and that's about it. And again, is it people and the energy, or the energy and the people and the location? They're just all different ways for it to move. It's really interesting.
Absolutely. Jane Gilmore said, was there a film out there that came out last year with table tipping in it?
Oh, I don't
know. Jane, be a bit more specific. Can you remember, because I don't watch it. If it was horror-based, I wouldn't watch it anyway. Paul, do you like horror films?
I probably would. I would.
No, we connect with the dead, don't we? We don't like to watch it just to,
Oh, no, I like to see who the next person is that's going to come forward. I watch the horror films.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Do you, Paul?
Sometimes if it's going to be good enough, I'll watch it, but I don't just watch them for the sake of them. So Yeah, I prefer more of the supernatural dramas as opposed to the horror films.
Yeah, I watched The Haunting of was it Blythe Manor, right? And The Haunting of, what was the other one?
House Hill, I think it is.
Hill House, was it Hill House?
Hill House, Hill House, that's right.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed them because they had like the supernatural kind of sort of twist in it as well. John, you've not seen them, have you?
Yeah, I've seen Hill House. I actually fell asleep. I actually got quite bored. I think I got to about 2 episodes before the end of season 1. I thought, I can't be bothered with this anymore. It was too dull. I found it dull.
I watched the other one first, right? The other one I thought was better.
Right.
So I would give it, yeah, definitely. All right, so Paul, so you don't use any divination tools, do you, to connect?
No, very rarely. No, I don't.
You are the divination tool.
Sorry?
You are the divination tool.
Yeah. I believe that we are the tool. Yeah, so we're the instrument and the energy travels through us. So, when we are maybe using the tarot cards, is it the cards that are giving us the information, or is it a higher part of ourselves that's connecting, and the card is more just of a guide, of a support, than the actual tool itself?
Now, the card, I see the card, right, which is why it's important for people to go towards the cards that they're vibing with, that inspire their imagination and intuition, right? Being along, the imagination is the single most, I would say, the best thing that you could probably harness in a child, right? It's the same as an adult when it comes to this type of work and an industry. So if you get a good set of cards that really get the old intuition going, right, it actually helps to tap into that side. But like I said, it's like a hairdresser, isn't it? The hairdresser has scissors, or comb, a reader. Do you do predictions with your thingies, with your connections, Paul, or are you
Well, again, protection is knowing your boundaries, isn't it?
Exactly.
Knowing your boundaries, and provided you are connected with yourself, then you are protected. But everybody has their own way that is unique to them. There is no right or wrong. Everyone has their own unique way. My way is I just need to know my boundaries and being connected to myself.
Yeah, that's a kind of good point. Now, taking it into another level, right? There's so much talk about aliens and stuff, right? Right now, what's your take on aliens, guys? Do they exist? Can you see them as a medium, right? Do you think that people that are seeing them could be actually tapping into their third eye and seeing them? Or do you think they exist physically in everyday life?
Laura, this conversation, you could tell by the look on the faces. Okay, just browse past. Keep going.
Well, I'll set it off then. I believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life. I do personally believe that they are here with us, and I do believe that at times it is possible to telepathically communicate with those kind of intelligences as well. There was a scientific study done with a medium a long time ago with it.
Wow, there we go. So Paul knew what I was talking about.
I
Right.
knew it was about.
What I was talking about, right? That's a medium conversation. Basically, it's like, I've always asked myself the question, which I'm sure a lot of you viewers here have probably thought, put it this way. The amount of phone calls I've had over the years from people that think they've seen them in their back garden, right? That's a real thing because I'm physically getting phone calls, right? Now, I've also had phone calls from editors of newspapers and magazines. Could I go to a certain place because aliens have been seen there? Not just ghosts, but aliens. And you have to ask, why are they asking a medium to go and see whether they actually, So when you look at it from that kind of viewpoint, right, as a medium, I'm thinking that perhaps you can see, if you can see spirit, you can see aliens in that same energy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's common knowledge that both in the I'll say American institutions, I'll put it that way. It's been well documented that psychics were used for communication, to attempt to pilot some of the ships or the alien technology, or to interact with them in some way. So I do believe there is a place for this kind of telepathic communication.
Yeah. Yeah, you as well, Beth. Yeah, what about you, John? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a bit on the. I think there is something else, and then there's a part of me, because I'm like that. I mean, even being a medium, I can be standing on a stage, I can do a show, bringing through, loved ones, messages, and then I could get off at the end, and I could be like, my God, can just like throw something off the wall to just like give me that extra 100% that you're there? And everybody laughs at me for it, and they're like, but John, you're the medium, you're giving people readings, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I'm kind of the same with aliens, I believe, but I'm thinking, well, if you're really there, come and show yourself in front of me, okay? Let me see your googly eyes. That's what I'm doing. I want some googly eyes.
These people in everyday life that have googly eyes, for goodness.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, I think.
Yeah, Katrina Marshall was saying that she doesn't know about aliens, but I believe in spirits. But so as a medium, right, so you can see spirit that don't have a body, they're in a different dimensional reality, right, without getting too technical. What if aliens exist in another reality entirely?
So this is where I was going next. I'm like, well, when we pass over and we are spirit, technically we're then an alien, are we?
Oh, I like that.
All energy is borrowed. Yeah, all energy is borrowed. It all comes from the same place. Yeah. If we believe in an afterlife, is the afterlife just central to this world, or is the afterlife central to all worlds? If it's central to this world, it must be central to all worlds. So all energy goes back to the same place. So when we, in spiritual terms, are connecting with the celestial realms, the angelic realms, are we actually connecting with those places, or are we going beyond our understanding or knowledge into some other dimension, some other frequency that perhaps we don't yet understand?
Exactly, Paul. That's exactly what I was getting at, is that with the table tipping, right? Just because we don't understand it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because that's our answer to people that say, God, spirit don't exist. I mean, just because they haven't seen it or whatever doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So we kind of have to come at it with the same kind of thought process, don't we? That if we're open-minded enough, listen, we connect with spirit, don't we? We've got that kind of how we're born, right? It's how we're born. And so if you're born with right-handed, you don't question being right-handed, do you? You just accept it. If you're left-handed, you don't question it, you just accept it. Rather people marvel at it, right? So if you've been born a medium and talk with dead people, you can hear the screech of the brakes, can't you? Right? It's like,
I mean, as somebody is another medium who's watching my live feed now, Ricky just said, we understand so little, and he's right in what he's saying. We do understand so little. We know a little bit, but it is only a little bit compared to what is actually out there.
If we can't solve a problem with the same mentality that created it, then how are we going to be able to get to the answer in this with the same mentality, right?
Yeah.
Not being able to see it. So you can only actually really entertain that and get a resolution if you expand your mind and just kind of do that with the question mark of what if? Don't rule it out, but what if? Right? Mm-hmm. And that kind of What do you reckon, Beth?
I think it's silly for us just on a logical perspective to think that we're the only living organism, people, style, human life form in this entire universe. So I think it's very arrogant to think that we're the only ones around here. We can't, it's just from a numbers perspective, that's just silly. Secondly, if it is, and there could be something obviously a lot older than us, a lot way more evolutionized, why would it not also have the ability to be able to be more consciously and subconsciously and energy, like thousands and billions and millions of years more evolutionized than us? I think that's also a possibility as well. Like, what's to say that, or just because, I haven't seen an alien in my backyard, but like you said, that people haven't had experiences. I've dealt with people who have had experiences that have marks on their bodies and have felt the energy of them around before they've even seen them. Like, if you're talking something so evolutionized, it's silly to think that other parts of their way in which they've been created and how they are would not also come from here. And more so, there'd be a stronger connection, I would imagine, from some planets and life forms that have been far more advanced from that perspective. I mean, talking about sort of like consciousness living outside the body, like John was saying, that there's so much research, and like Paul said about these institutions in America, about consciousness living outside the body, about the military actually trying to use ways to actually harness that power for war. So it's like, we got to be logical about it. There's definitely a possibility, and we have to be open-minded about the fact that there are other life forms out there.
Yeah, exactly. What's that area, John, in America where they keep all the alien bits and stuff?
Oh, Area 51.
51?
I've been there.
Oh my God, Beth.
Well, not been there, but only to the barrier, because you get shot if you get in there. So it's free piercing, but no, thank you.
Tempting, but not quite.
Yeah, but it's incredible. It's an incredibly intense place, because it looks just like your normal desert, and as you come up into your car, there's not even a gate. It just says, if you cross here, we will shoot you. And you can see wires in the ground, so they're listening to you as you walk out. And you can hear the buzzing from it as well. I laughed because coming from Australia, I saw someone had thrown a thong over, like a shoe. And I was like, why did I not think of that? Because you're not going to go and get it, are you? So it's one way to kind of leave your mark. But I just thought it was hilarious. But it's an incredible place. It's just it's scarily guarded in that way, and you just don't never cross that line. But we kind of went a bit close to it, and to have that experience is incredible. But so guarded.
Detecting that, we know they exist.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And what we don't know, we make up, don't we?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Where I live here on Hayling Island, we are slap bang in the middle of between Portsmouth, which, as we know, is naval, military, and then going east towards the Witterins, which is kind of next door to me, back on the mainland. There is a military base over in that direction, and you will often have the helicopters flying backwards and forwards over the island. Now, where I live, I'm kind of like 60 footsteps, and the beach is just literally there. I walk out my door, that is where the beach is. And sometimes I'll go out there. So obviously, we've got no street lights, so we're in total darkness. And you look up in the sky, and I know where the flight path is, and we haven't had any planes, but several times since I've lived over here, there's been strange anomalies in the sky that have suddenly just come up and then moved across and disappeared. And I've learnt where the space station goes across, and the space station is, you see it quite clearly, it goes over, it's very fast, it's directional. Some of these lights, though, just come up from nowhere over out in the Solent, and they just seem to be hovering there watching you, and then boom, they're gone. And I've seen that several times here.
Wow. That's incredible, isn't it?
No. And I probably speak to a lot of the islanders, and they all say the same thing, that they've all seen light anomalies out in the sky that they can't explain.
Yeah. I've spoken to one individual in Australia. There's a certain part in Sydney called Narrabeen, and I've seen where they've been sitting there at night time. It's summertime, the sun's down, and there's a light underneath the water, and it grows and grows, and then the light actually comes out of the water and then shoots straight up to the sky at an enormous speed. Yeah. And they weren't drinking. They weren't, it's like it's an incredible thing. It's something that stayed with them for the rest of their life. Like it's such a unique. But we often think coming from the sky down, but actually coming from up was just a very unique experience.
Yeah.
I feel really boring. All I've ever had was a ball of fire that I seen in the sky, and it was an asteroid. I thought it was an alien at the time, but it's just an asteroid.
Could be a spiritual asteroid. You never know.
I'm still saying it was magical. I mean, nobody else. It was in the papers that it was just an asteroid, but I'm definitely going, well, it was something else.
Of course, that's their explanation for it, because they didn't have anything else, to explain it, John.
Exactly.
Well, I can't remember the conjunction between the two planets, Jupiter and one of the others, on the winter solstice on the 21st of December. There's an alignment, isn't there? So if we are in the right place, we're going to see the first Christmas star in 800 years, where the two planets align, and it looks as if it's going to be one big star in the sky, and that's going to be actually on the winter solstice, I think on the 21st of December.
That's so cool.
So,
Wow.
That is cool.
That is.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah,
We're all going to be outside.
On the winter solstice as well. You know, those are the kind of celestial events that interest me. You know, when you get a full moon on Halloween, as we did this year, which actually has a different meaning than the commercial one that we more commonly know. And then also we see one then falling on, you know, the winter solstice, and we see this conjunction as well. And those are the things that get my attention and get me excited. You know, that you think, why are these alignments happening on these specific days? And, you know, as we all know, we've all gone through a very traumatic year that has affected all of us in many, many different ways for many different reasons. And yet when we remove ourselves from the pandemic itself, and we look to the stars, and we can see all of the alignments that have been taking place and the conjunctions and other celestial events, you start to look at it from that perspective. You kind of go, okay, wow, what is it that what message are we actually being sent here? We're being sent a message. Maybe we don't know quite what it is, but we must be getting some message, because we're seeing this year more than ever so many different significant alignments and celestial events. And 2020 vision. Yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that, Paul.
No.
No, neither did I.
Oh my God, that's it. I'm off. I'll see you later.
It's like a penny drop. Ding.
I know. It's a moment. When did that pop in your head, Paul?
Well, one of the things that I do, you know me, guys, you know, Lara, you know me for a long time, Lara. You know, I don't kind of like broadcast things, and I keep myself a little bit under the radar. But even last year, within my own development classes, I was being told that, you know, 2020 was going to be a very significant year. It was going to be a very spiritual year. Now, when we think of a spiritual year, we expect it to be a very calming, peaceful, relaxing period. It's not. It never is. It's complete opposite. It is chaos and carnage and hell from earth. And that's kind of a little bit of what we've experienced this year. Through what we've been going through. You know, everybody's lives have been turned upside down, and nobody has not been affected by this journey. So even though I didn't know exactly what was going on, I always knew that 2020 was going to be a spiritual year, and they had been preparing me. They said, look, you know, it's going to start round about January time. Prepare yourself. Next year is going to be like no other year you've ever experienced. And you know, they were right. You know, we've gone into January, and bang, we started to see the first kind of news, news coming out about the coronavirus.
Yeah, I have to say, about 8 years ago, I did a bit of work on certain things. I was asking myself the question, when's the end of the world, right? And I did all this like really in-depth looking. And when I say looking in depth, I'm talking intuitively looking. I had an assistant at the time, so I got 2 dates. One of them was the 17th of May 2020, the other one was 19th of May 2020. Right. I told her, no matter what, let me know near the time. All right. Now the question in my head was, when was the end of the world going to happen that we know of, right? So how we see the world at that point. And I can honestly say, I got up in the morning of the 20th of May and I felt different. Right. She never told me, by the way, until about the 15th. She messaged me and said, I've just looked in my diary and I had that down that you told me about like 8 years ago. And I hadn't seen her for about 5 years. Just, you know, so, and And then I was like, oh, right, now I know why those dates were in, right? But I didn't sit and go, it's because of a virus or anything like that. I just thought things are changing massively in a big way. How about you, John? Did you get anything like that?
Sorry, I'm beeping like mad. I'm trying to mute things that are beeping on this computer. There we go. No, I never. I'm a bit of a weirdo medium. I really am, and I preach it to everybody that I'm a bit of a strange medium, because I kind of ignore everything that's going on, and I only actually focus when, like, I'm doing a reading or something. You know, it's the only time I connect in. So, I mean, I had a strange feeling that things were a bit strange. You know, something was coming about, you know, last year, most definitely. But I never paid any attention to it, purely because I'm one of those people, right, I've got a reading booked in, it's 2 o'clock, I sit down, you know, before that, I'm out having my lunch, I'm walking the dog, I'm picking up dog poo off the ground, you know, I'm doing normal things that everybody else does. I come in, I get sitting at my desk, I get myself sorted, I get myself connected, I'll say to Spirit, right, here we go, it's time for you to come and do some work. Please make it easier for me. You know, I've pleaded and begged with them for a little bit, didn't make me look stupid, you know, please. I know it's an easy thing to do, but let's try and not do it this time. I do my reading. I've done my reading, and then I close off. And then I'll be, right, I've got a show at 7 o'clock. I'll go out, I'll walk the dog, I'll pick up the poo, I'll shout at the cat for standing on my kitchen bunker. I'll tell the kids off for, you know, leaving Lego on the ground. I'll get a shower, I get dressed, I get to the theatre. 10 minutes before I'm due on, I start panicking, I get a sore belly, and I think, my God, I'm going away to stand up here and I don't even know what I'm doing. Then I got on that stage and I'm like, right, Spirit, let's go. As soon as that's over, I'm shut down. As far as I'm concerned, there's no spirit world once I'm off duty. So I call myself the weirdo psychic. Everybody comes up with these, you know, like you guys, you've got this story saying, oh, I felt this, I was picking up that, I knew this was coming. I'm like, I feel so bad. I feel like I'm maybe just a part-time medium.
But John, that is life, though. You've just described life. You know, for most people, it doesn't matter if you're a medium or whether you work in an office or what you do. You know, we've got families, you know, and we go out, we work, and even if we are you working within this genre, you know, sometimes, you know, time can be so constricted with everything that we've got, and you've just described everyday life, and you know, you've described, it doesn't matter whether you are a medium or not, the difficulty is it's trying to stay connected when we're not connected, being awareness, and that's the difficulty. And it doesn't matter, you know, yeah, you know, it's very easy that maybe that, you know, if you've got nothing going on in life, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to anyone, but maybe if you are perhaps retired or you've got time to kind of ponder on life, but for a lot of people they haven't, and it's bang, 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 bang the whole time, and you find yourself disconnecting from yourself and from spirit. And so, yeah, you just described life.
Yeah, I think I've got a good balance of it. And I know when I used to work, when I say when I used to work, like I don't work anymore, but I know what I mean. When I had my 9-to-5 job.
A normal job.
Yeah, I'm saying 9 to 5. It wasn't even 9 to 5. I was a nightclub and a bar manager. Trust me, I wish it was 9 to 5. But when I had that, you know, I found it was really hard because the door to the spirit world was always open. And, you know, you'd be sitting pouring a pint thinking, oh my God, there's like 5,000 people in here, but there's only 5 actual people in the room. And it wasn't until one day when I walked in, I thought, I can't be bothered with this anymore. And I handed my keys over to the big boss and says, I'll not be back. That's when I said, right, I need to get this sorted. And since then, I think I've got a great balance. If I'm not working, you don't talk to me. If I'm working, you can talk till you are blue in the teeth. Not that the spirit world have teeth, but they could talk. Yeah, I think I've got that nice fine balance. And I mean, there is times that I can sit and, you know, I'm not doing a reading, or I could just be sitting and I decide to just sort of, right, okay, fill me with some wisdom. And then I think, oh, why did you do that, John? Your guide's an alcoholic. But, you know, I've got a nice balance. I think. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm all over the place today.
No problem.
Listen, those of you that haven't done so already, please like and follow this page. Go and like John Spratt's page, Psychic Medium.
No, that I can read it.
You can't see anyway, right? You've got Paul Cissell, Psychic Medium as well, and Beth's page is Access Paranormal. All right, so please go and like and follow, because you could be coming in from those pages, and I'm not going to see your comments anyway, because you haven't liked and followed those pages, so it just won't show up here. But if you do that and press the bell, right, and then you'll get notified when they're going live as well. All right, and so you don't want to miss a thing. So we're talking about different ways of divination tonight, and I've got to say that probably even myself, like I connect, I'm a medium, you know, same as, you know, John and Paul, and you know, I connect with spirit, right? I don't need cards and that. In fact, some of the best readings I've ever done have been without, when I've not taken my cards along type thing, because they can be a distraction as well, right? They can, but see from a client's perspective as well, if you don't put it down. Thanks, Nori, for putting Paul's website up, and also
I love visuals. They like to see something. So if you're
absolutely. See, if I don't, they get highly suspicious. And I've heard them go away and say, that girl just sat and spoke to me. And I'm like, speaking to them, right? Of course I'm speaking to them, but I'm like, so without a prop, would be like highly suspicious that the information, they can't differentiate between when I'm reading for them and actually just talking. So normal am I at making it all blend together, right? That they, unless you put something visual in front of them, like a crystal ball, right? I've got my crystal ball here as well. John, do you ever read a crystal ball?
I love a crystal ball. I don't have mine here. It's in the other room.
That it was probably, my grandparents were bowlers, so I think this is the bowling gene kind of morphed into something.
I have to admit, I don't use it very often, because if I'm going to use cards for something, it's normally they've come for a psychic reading. They've not come for a spirit message. So yeah, I'm still getting the information from spirit. I couldn't care what anybody else says. You know, it's coming in from spirit. But I'll pull the cards out, and it is purely, and I mean, no disrespect to big time tarot card readers, anything like that. It's purely just to give that person a visual. If I could say to somebody, my God, there's a problem with a work situation, and I pull out a card that's got a picture of a guy having a problem at his work on it, they're like that. They listen to you because they could see that card in front of them. Okay, where you can give the exact same message to someone else the next day, and because you haven't showed them the card for it or pulled that card out, they'll walk out and go, that reading was all right, but never really seen anything. As for the person that got the exact same reading, but you used it with a card, it's like, I seen it in the card, he pulled it out, and whilst he was saying it, the card come out, and I was blown away, and you're like, they listen to you more because they've seen it. A bit like transfiguration mediums. If I've been and I've witnessed a medium doing transfiguration, and they've gave a reading, the person from the spirit worlds came through, and they gave a reading to someone. The person they gave a reading to was a non-believer in the spirit world. They left that demonstration. They could not deny anything. The voice was their dad that came through that medium. And he said at the end, if it was a medium that had just stood up and gave me a message, I still wouldn't have believed the thing you said. You've gave me a visual. I've watched it. Even the way the trance medium's hands were moving, he says, that was my dad. That was the way he moved. So no matter what people say, if you've got a visual, people listen to you more. And I always say it is because, and I didn't mean it rude, it's just the way I say things, because people are just daft.
It's literally, and coming from somebody who in this lovely chat is probably got a psychic as my glasses cover. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You know, it's almost like I need seeing to believing. It's like, how can I trust you? Because it's your interpretation of the spirit world. I need to see something as proof of that. It's almost like then I can have that trust. And you're like, this is spirit is coming through. It's like, no, but I need the glasses cover. I need to know what's in it. You know, what's the message? You know, I need something physical and tangible, and then I'll actually, you know, open my mind up and believe it. So you're right. It's from the outside, you do have that some need sometimes, particularly like some dodgy ones out there. And
if you go and buy some food in the supermarket, like bread, a loaf of bread, you would get the ingredients on the bread, right? You would get wouldn't you? Okay.
Mhm.
Like kind of everything that people see is what I'm saying. Everything that they buy into normally, they've always got the ingredients of that, right? Until you get to this kind of profession where we can't guarantee the ingredients of that for the end result. And for that, then they get suspicious.
Mhm. Yeah.
What I'm saying is it's not so bad because everything round about you, right, even the bed that you're sitting on, right, when it gets delivered, it's got a sticker on the mattress that tells you what's in the mattress and what coil it is and all the rest of it, right?
It even tells you when to throw it out.
Yes, yeah.
It does.
Wouldn't it be good if you knew people like that? Wouldn't it be great if people came up with a label like that?
Oh,
All right.
You wanted a sell-by date. Best before.
Mine would say when provoked. Right?
Mine would go, all my friends would be out of date. They'd be in the Rootsy aisle.
Handle with care. What would yours say, Paul? What would you
I wouldn't have a clue on that one.
Beth,
No, you got me on that one.
Oh, mine was like good to keep for 100 years.
well, good to keep for 100 years.
Yeah, that's what mine would say. Yeah.
You lived till you were 100, wouldn't it? Right after that, you remember you said that, and then you've done your own prediction.
I'd say, well, I got my letter from the Queen. So.
We might have a slight technical hitch now. If the Queen gives you a letter for that, she's an alien. Right?
She'll come and visit me in spirit then, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, wouldn't that be funny if she left a letter beside your bed? You know, love Queen. Right?
Well, guys, what would we say is the most controversial form of divination?
Oh, controversial.
Yeah.
Oh, the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, then. Yeah.
Why do you think it's so controversial?
Can I just say I was once asked to read Winkles, Paul?
You was asked what? Sorry.
Beth's eyes said it all there. Yes, you're right. What you're thinking, Beth. I was asked to read Winkles. I know. Everybody's too scared to say. Come on, John. I know you're wanting to. Right. Were the Winkles on the beach or
Winkles?
Yeah.
No, but just Winkles.
You know what Winkles are? Winkies, Winkles.
Yeah, Winkles. You didn't have to say Winkies.
Oh, seriously, exactly. Well, I was asked to read those, right? Like for Kerrang Radio. So what I'm saying is, what's the most controversial? Define controversial, Paul, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, okay. I was going with more commonly known controversial methods of divination rather than wrinkles from the people. Though I did hear of somebody in London that gave bum readings.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lady going back quite a long time ago that used to give bum backside readings, I should say.
Claire, they raffled it out, and luckily the guy didn't show up. Luckily. I just I know I ended up doing boobies instead, but there you go. The Ouija board, isn't it? You mention the word Ouija, a sniff of a word, and you see the whites of everybody's eyes, don't you? Let's face it.
So I think the problem with Ouija boards is TV. It's been mediums, not even mediums, it's been people as well, going back years and years. You know, they've gave it this, oh my God, you play with that, the devil's coming in, and this, that, the next thing. So people, it's a bit like I say, especially if I'm doing like an investigation. Okay, I'll say to the people that come in, the customers, the participants, I'll say, if you've walked in here saying to yourself, I do not believe in this shite, you're going to walk out the exact same way and you're going to have a boring night. If you pull out a Ouija board and you say, oh my God, the devil's going to come through. Okay, the devil's not going to come through, but you're going to have that experience. Same, I think, if you say tarot cards are bad, there's people that say tarot cards are bad as well. Well, if you're using them and you've got it in your head that tarot cards are bad, they're going to be bad. But I think
you're saying it's about the people, like the individual's belief system. That's what you're saying.
the board has got itself a bad name. I mean, me personally, I like to look at them. Okay, I think they're great visuals, and I've got ones like this that's got pentagrams on it. I've got ones that have got devil horns on it. I've got ones that have got angels on it. I've got one that's got a ginger pussycat on it, for heaven's sakes. Okay, they still all do the same job. To me, they're as boring as heck because they're too slow. Now, anybody that's ever seen me work spirit readings, I am a fast talker. It's like verbal diarrhea. I'm like, I've got your granny here. When I've got a Ouija board, I'm like, is there anybody here? And I've got to wait on it to move to yes. When I could hear the person shouting, I'm bloody here, can you just move it yourself, son? All right. To me, it's frustrating. Okay. Great board, great tools. People always say, John, would you recommend them? No, I wouldn't, because I think anything that you do, even opening up to the spirit world, you need to know what you're doing. You need to protect yourself. Just like here on earth, there's evil there as well. There's no getting away from it. Wherever there's light, there has to be dark. Wherever there's dark, there has to be light. So I don't say to anybody, go and pull out a Ouija board and try and communicate with your granny. No, definitely not. I wouldn't even say that all mediums should use a Ouija board. Okay, the only people I feel that should use boards are if you're a medium that could sense spirit. There is no point in saying, oh, but my Auntie Betty's a medium. She's gave messages to people, but she's never sensed spirit. She's just got the words coming into her head. Okay, she's never aware that someone's there. That to me is stupid then, because that's like saying a blind person, could you come in here and just watch nothing, watch no black smoke comes out the middle of the board? Pointless. So I would always say that you need to have someone that knows what they're doing. They could feel, hear and see spirit. To me, they're boring. They're made by the people that make Monopoly, but then pendulums were never designed to give yes/no readings to people as well. That crystal, that's not what it's for. But it's been adapted like many other tools. Dowsing rods, for example, they're used to find water in the ground. People give readings from them. I use them in paranormal investigations. Just bizarre. I don't know where I'm going with this neither. I'm on one of those trance today where I get something in my head today and I'm like, right, I'm going to talk about that. And then I get halfway through and I'm thinking, where am I going with this?
But I know what you mean. There are paranormal teams that are really anti Ouija board. Like they actually have like symbols saying, and with the cross, across it and saying, we don't use that and we don't advocate any other investigation teams to even possibly use them, for trying to make communication with spirit. I'm the same with you. I think if someone says to me, and like with you, often get asked, I want to use one, what should I do? I'm like, well, if you feel comfortable and you're with people that you feel comfortable with, by all means. If you don't. To me, it's a big question, is intention. What is your intention about like trying to reach out? And this is from someone, generally from people who don't have any or don't have a strong psychical medium ability at all and just want to communicate. So it's like, okay, do you feel comfortable doing this? If you do, then I think it's okay. But if you don't, then don't do it. I've used Ouija boards more times. I've got hands and toes. I'm not, no satanic stuff, no devil stuff. I'm fine. But I've also done it with people that I know. I've done it in jails, in asylums, in hospitals, all sorts of places that would potentially have something negative, and I've been fine. But that's because, like with as you were saying, as you go into it, and it's almost like I don't even use protection, but I think it's a mindset, a good mindset, and a healthy mindset before you start is your protection. And I think that's what's been good for me going in, and I've not had a problem at all. And like with you, it is slow. You're right. It's like, and if it's a slow energy, I'm like, oh man, this must be wearing it out. I mean, it's like I hats off to them for making some sort of connection. But again, like we were saying before earlier, it's this, I want to see the physical proof of something communicating, because I don't trust exactly what's happening just yet. So yeah, you're very right.
Absolutely. Is it? Well, look, Pat, like you, the first time I did that, the glass, they said don't let go of the glass, and it went to fly off the table, and I was at the opposite end, so I flew across the table with it, right? That I think that making your own probably is better if you've got a wooden table that's got a good surface on it, right? You can pick up a little bit of speed, but like John was saying, like on those board games and that is like, isn't it? Right? Right. What did you say? What's that noise of the board? Yeah. So like that, definitely. Can it be, yeah, listen, there's certain conditions where you can lock it down and make sure nobody's pushing it and stuff like that as well. Like when you touch your knees and touch your fingers together, you can feel if somebody's doing that. But generally, if you get a good seance, Paul, it works really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like any form of divination. A seance works really well if you've got somebody leading it who knows what they're doing and is channeling the energy of everybody else in the group. Remember, it always comes down to our intention. Why are we doing it in the first place? What are we hoping to achieve from it? So as Beth said, you said, Beth, a lot of paranormal groups, companies do use it. Should they use it? Well, that's again down to those people that run it, and I'm certainly not going to judge them for that. This is only me personally, and I'm not judging anyone. My personal rule is that a spirit board, I believe, can be a great tool on a paranormal investigation. Yeah, provided it's supervised. I always say, if your loved ones are coming through, though, don't trust it. Yeah, that's my view of it. Why is mum going to want to come through in a cold, dark, dingy tunnel, with a group of strangers to reach out to people that have not got experience of spirit communication and trying to get a message through? Surely, knowing how the laws of this work, she's going to energetically reach out and send out that telepathic thought process that hopefully you'll hear it, or put out an energetic cookie crumb trail, shall we say, that is going to lead you to a bona fide medium where you'll get that message in a very loving, supporting way, rather than, being in, a supposedly, atmospheric location. So, that's my only rule on the, I
love that, Paul. I love that. You're absolutely right. Why wait in a queue with a Ouija board when you can, I
mean, I've got to admit, when
I know it happens. I've done, as a medium, I've done events where, the group have brought through somebody and suddenly it started spelling out maybe a name, and someone said, oh my God, that's my mum, or whatever. And then it's kind of picked up momentum from that. The other thing we have to look at, because somebody mentioned in the comments earlier on, can they bring through evil spirits or bad spirits? When we're going into these haunted locations, we don't always know what we're walking into, and we may not always be prepared for what we're going to encounter. How do we know that somebody of, that should we say is more of a trickster, might be now telepathically connected to your mind, and has picked up on your thoughts, your impressions, and now has replayed that to somebody else in the group, and has now planted those thoughts within that other person's mind, and that person genuinely believes that they are now communicating with your mother because they're getting information, and you're going, oh my God, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. But maybe those are memory links that are there within you. Is that really, and I'm just using mum as an example here, but is that really mum, or has something else happened where perhaps this kind of spirit of some kind has taken your thoughts, your memories, and been able to tap into them and place them onto somebody else's mind in the group, and now they believe that they are channeling your mother, because I've seen it when people have got very emotional because somebody has come through from the spirit world, and damn well that is not the case.
Protected environment as well, right? So healing has to happen with the message, and environment like that where you can't protect the message or the individual, That's a tough call, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is why I have my own office where I work. Where I do my own properties. It's a room that is set up for healing. So when I bring the client in to see me, I work online as well, but when they come to see me privately, that is a space that is just there for mediumship communication. And the atmosphere of the room is designed all for healing, for wellness. They come in straight away, they're relaxed, they're put in a very calm place, and they're nurtured, they feel safe. So if it goes into a deeper level, they are in a safe, nurturing situation where if the reading does draw up maybe some suppressed memories or circumstances, which it can do from time to time, they are in that place where they feel protected, as opposed to being down some dark tunnel somewhere and suddenly these deep dark secrets of the family are suddenly coming to the surface.
Yeah, very good point. Fabulous. Thank you so much, guys. We've run out of time, and John Dinner's arrived as well, so we've see, look at his smile. That's why you can always tell, because he just goes off on a tangent. He gets hungry, but
Belly's grumbled and the missus is shouting, "Your food's ready."
Yes, I know, Paul. Thank you so much for that explanation. It makes a total sense. For joining us tonight as well, Beth. Thank you so much for joining us, and also John as well, and me too. I think I love this. So hopefully we'll get back maybe together next week or the week after. We will keep you posted, on that. We've had some great chat tonight. All the different methods of divination. Maybe it's got you thinking. It's certainly got us thinking, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So it has.
All right. So go and check out Access Paranormal, Paul Cissell Psychic Medium, and John Spratt Psychic Medium as well, and give their pages a like and a follow, please. And we will be back, I don't know, next week or the week after. Yeah, absolutely. We'll arrange it behind the scenes. Lots of love. Take care, everybody.
Bye.